What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Overseas Famous podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Owens. We have the Loot Mogul gang in town today on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Loot Mogul, we've talked with Corsley before about Loot Mogul. Now we got the gang on. We're gonna be doing a collaboration with Loot Mogul, bringing on a lot of fun guests, bringing on a lot of people telling a lot of stories, but also showing the world what Loot Mogul is. So this is the initial Loot Mogul show, but we are going to hit on mainly some questions, and our main star today is going to be LG Gill. LG Gill is a basketball player, played overseas, started his career at Duquesne, then went to Maryland, then played in the G League. Pretty much the same. I feel like it's like that same trajectory of basketball players. You got to give that G League a hit first, and then you know once that you realize that you're not making any goddamn money, you just head overseas. So LG. So let's just get everyone introduced. Raj Rashkodia is our major Loot Mogul man. He's running the show, and we have Raj with us today. We also have Corsley, who we've had on the show before. Also, the big players in the Loot Mogul game, and we're excited to have them on today. So everyone, first off, let's just welcome. How are we doing today?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us on here, man. I look forward to this, man. Appreciate it.
It's good times. Good times. This is going to be, like we said, this is a family. This is a collaboration that we're going to be using and exploring a lot of what Loot Mogul does, a lot of the people that we have with Loot Mogul. So LG, we're going to jump into you because, like you said, you are still kind of like involved. Me and Course, like we're old heads. Like we're the guys who just live vicariously through the younger guys now, because you still are able to get out there and play. So let's take us through your story. You started your career off at Duquesne, then ended up transferring to Maryland. When you made that decision, was that a hard decision? Because we like to talk in the show about the transfer portal, and Course and I were talking beforehand. We spent 4 years at our schools, and there was times when there could have been a transfer. You were there's temptation and stuff to go. It was a different world back then because you had to sit out and stuff. Now it's more open. So take us through that. When your decision, when you were at Duquesne, you're like, you know what, Maryland, like who wouldn't want to play at Maryland? College Park, it's awesome. So take us through that decision when you decided to go from Duquesne to Maryland.
All right, so I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna jump back to just me being in high school first before I answer that. So like me being, I went to Benedictine High School in Richmond, Virginia. It's a Catholic military, all boys school, and in Virginia, it's always been known as like a top basketball school, like in the Richmond city. You know what I'm saying? And we would get state championships, one after the next, if not, what I'm saying, every other year. Like it's always been a basketball school. So I always knew I wanted to go play for them, like growing up watching them. But it was a grind though, you know what I'm saying? So I had to really work my way up. So with that being said, like I really only played like 1 year of high school basketball. You know what I'm saying? That was my senior year. Freshman year, played JV. Sophomore year, I got hurt going into my sophomore year, ended up playing JV again. Junior year, I was getting like very limited minutes behind guys that were being recruited by all these different type of schools. So probably playing not even like 10 minutes my junior year. So for me going into it, I always was like an underdog, you know what I'm saying? So like I always had that chip on my shoulder, like I got something to prove. Like, I could have went to a local public school and been that guy, but it's always me seeing that bigger picture. Like, although my time it's not right now, I know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of stuck with that route, stuck with that, that blueprint. And that's kind of like the foundation of my entire basketball career. Like I always see the bigger picture when I'm stepping into something. You know what I'm saying? So like at Benedictine, I worked my way up to the top, and I just stayed patient and patient and patient. And as I got to my senior year, I ended up, that was my best year ever. Like we ended up winning the state championship, played with guys. Our whole starting five went Division I, played with guys like Nick Capola, Nick Gorski, Robert Johnson, and went to Indiana. Chris Lane, Raymond Minor that played football, Cleveland Farrell, he's a draft pick, played for the Oakland Raiders, plays for them right now. Like we had a team full of athletes. So I kind of just kept that same blueprint. So when it was time to go to college, I was just like a late bloomer, you know. So by the time you're a senior, most guys have already kind of like, you know, like they know where they're going to college junior year. They got scholarships, you know, they 5-star, 4-star, whatever it is, like on their recruiting portfolios or whatever. But for me, it wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I had to keep grinding. And with my offers, I got like a lot of little major offers, like a lot of little major offers. But for myself, I wanted more for myself. But none of the A10 schools in my city, like Richmond, VCU, they never threw me a scholarship. You know what I'm saying? For me, another chip on my shoulder. I'm like, I'm right here in the city. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I have a lot that I can offer on at that level, you know, at that mid-major level. And then I know that I can see myself playing at a high major level too. You know what I'm saying? So I always saw the vision. So when the Duquesne offer came, I saw they were at the bottom of the A10 at the time, but I saw it as an opportunity for me to showcase my skills. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I get to go at VCU. I get to go out at Richmond. I get to go at St. Bonnie's. I get to go at Dayton. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys that Rhode Island was really good. St. Louis was top 10 in the country my freshman year. You know what I'm saying? So I saw it and I just, like I said, I just always stay focused on just running my own race. You know what I'm saying? Although like it took longer, but everything starts to play out, you know? So that Duquesne offer, I took it and kind of just ran with it. The first year was rough. You know what I'm saying? It got better towards the end a little bit. But then as far as me making that decision to want to like transfer, I just feel like I just kind of wanted a little bit more for myself what I was putting in. I feel like I wanted to give myself that chance to get that real exposure, that college experience. You know what I'm saying? Like at Maryland, it was crazy, you know, and so yeah, I just kind of just set myself up for just seeing that I could play at that level. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably
I
that.
I think what you hit on when you said running your own race is something that a lot of young people need to hear, because we have this world where if you're not starting by your sophomore year, you're not on this top AAU team. I see it even with, you know, my daughter. You know, it's like, oh, if you don't make this team by this age, and I'm like, I didn't start. I was the same as you. Like we, of course, and I talked that like we were all kind of late bloomers, and we really started developing as we got older. And for people in this day and age to think that this is only your only shot is to be good at a young age, and if you can't, then you're just going to like quit. I think, you know, what you just talked about really showed that if you just keep going and keep going, things are going to get a lot better, and you're living proof of that. And I think that's awesome. So when you got to College Park, that's got to be a fun experience, because it's college. It's one of the most famous places to play college basketball. You have like Cameron and things like that, but College Park has its own unique. The fans are crazy. I know. I played against Maryland. I've had one of my closest friends went to Maryland and was the biggest, loudest person cursing me out in the game. So I know that the fans at College Park are intense. How is that? Take us through going into Maryland and what you experienced going from Duquesne to, you know, a crowded environment like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Xfinity, man, it's like the energy in Xfinity on game, especially a conference game, is different. You know what I'm saying? Like you walk in there, you walk out the tunnel, and it's like instantly you just feel that energy. You know what I'm saying? And coming from Duquesne, we didn't have the greatest fan base. You know what I'm saying? We were a rebuilding program. You know what I'm saying? For the time that I was there. You know, so we're trying to get fans to come in and see us play and make the game more of like a, you know what I'm saying, game day environment and get us amped up. Cause I mean, it is true. Like players feed off of the fans, you know, like that home court advantage, like is everything, especially like when you got guys like really passionate about the game, you know what I'm saying? So bringing that fire from the fans is only going to make the players, you know what I'm saying, play better. So when I got to Maryland, like the first games, like, you know, I think it's like what, roughly like 18,000 or something, the Xfinity holds, something like that. And just seeing it, you know what I'm saying, with all the different Maryland colors, the yellow, the red, the white, like it was crazy, but it just makes you want to go out there and just have a great game and just, you know what I'm saying, like give the fans what they want and just do something exciting, get a nice alley oop or something and turn up one time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's great, and it's cool because I got to experience like literally having like 5 people in the stands or some game at a home game. Like my freshman year, like 8 people in the stands, and they all like like real like they all were like like donors or whatever, and it's like dang, like we got to bring some more people in to watch us play, like you know what I'm saying, to get this thing turned around. Which it did. It started to slowly kind of turn around, but in the end, like I said, when I made the decision to go to Maryland, it was crazy, man. Just seeing all those fans, man. There's nothing like it.
It's funny because you look at the NBA playoffs even, and not to jump into the NBA playoffs, but I feel like, watching, being close to Philadelphia and seeing the Sixers up close every, all season, they kind of fed off the fans. And it's wild because when the Miami game, it's like 5 minutes before tip off. Now they sell that place out, but people don't show up until like midway through the first quarter. And it's like a weird thing that Miami's able to almost play with that like lack of fan support in the beginning. They're like almost thrive off that, and other teams just kind of start really flat there. So it's funny that Miami was packed versus Boston, because I think once they got the Eastern Conference Finals, they're like, all right, let's pack this place. But I think what you're saying is like that fandom, like having those fans really jump all over everything that you're doing. And really supporting you is great. So it's funny that some teams are able to almost get used to that beginning of the game where there's no fans there, knowing that they're going to show up, and like having that in their arsenal to be like, yeah, it's going to be a quiet game until they show up, and by that time we're going to be kicking your ass. Now you then end up at the G League. We talked about this. Corsley and I both played in the G League. G League, how would you compare that? I think about what the G League was and what it's become. How would you compare the G League to what you were experiencing at Maryland?
So the G League, it's kind of like the same thing, kind of like what I just hit on as far as like the fan engagement, and like you really got to build yourself up some nights and really find that, you know what I'm saying, that inner drive, man, because you might be playing the NBA arena and there really might not be nobody watching the game. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand the bigger picture. Like, look, I'm going against NBA guys every day, and everybody got a chip on their shoulder. Everybody in that league believes that they should be in the league, So you out there competing, you know what I'm saying, not only against yourself to be the best person that you can be, you know what I'm saying, the best version of yourself you can be, but these guys are really trying to make the league. Everybody wants that as a basketball player. So Union G League, that's the best league, you know what I'm saying, to get to, as far as like having the exposure to be right in front of the scouts every day. You know what I'm saying? NBA guys on your team, two-way players now. They're also like part of the NBA teams. You got what do you call it? You got your Exhibit 10 guys that go to training camp. Like, these are guys that have that NBA experience. You know what I'm saying? You got some vets that come back and play. So I mean, it's a hell of an experience, man. And like when I was at Maryland, it's also tied into Maryland, because when I got to Maryland, like, so my whole career I played like stretch forward 3, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of 3, stretch forward mainly. And I got to Maryland, I had to play the 5, you know what I'm saying. That was like, for me, it's like I ain't never played the 5 before, but it was something like, all right, coach need me to play the 5, all right, I'm gonna learn how to play the 5 then, you know what I'm saying, like, because that's what they thought was the best for the team at the time. You know what I'm saying? For me, like, I'm not gonna lie, it was frustrating, you know what I'm saying? But things worked out later, you know what I'm saying? So it's seeing that bigger picture, it's like not putting my head down, but kind of just controlling what I can control, not knowing that a year later when I leave college, you know what I'm saying, a G League team, which was Greensboro Swarm, they needed a bid. They wanted to go small. And I'm like, dang, look at God. Like, he set me up to really be in this position. Like, I was mad, you know what I'm saying, in college, having to play, trying to figure out this new position, not knowing that it was going to open up and be the start of my professional career later, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I met Course. He was my coach in Greensboro, and he was teaching me different the ways, because he knew, like, I'm out of position, like, you know what I'm saying? So every day I'm working out with Course. He put me through workouts before the game, after the game, off days, showing me like, you versatile, like, you can play this position, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to start. And nobody thought, with my stats coming out of Maryland, like, I think I averaged like 3 points or something like that, because I really wasn't playing like that towards the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to take a back seat as a senior, so like trying to find that professional, you know what I'm saying, that professional basketball career was like, for me, it was like, damn, like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna get an overseas offer? I have 3 points. Like, you know what I'm saying? All right, like, but it's just kind of like knowing your worth. And, you know, I took a leap of faith, went to some workouts, went to the training camp and killed training camp. I had probably one of the best dunks of my career at the G League Greensboro Swarm. It was like a private tryout. It was the best dunk of my career. You know what I'm saying? Like I went baseline and went up. The guy tried to block it. I went on the other side of the rim and I punched it like that. And like it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I was doing things that I didn't even think I was like capable of doing, but I was just like, nah, I gotta make this team. You know what I'm saying? So I had a great performance. They called me a few days later, like, yo, we want to become a training camp. And then like everything just like I didn't stress about it. I just put it in God's hand, prayed about it, and then the opportunity just came. And that's the biggest thing about being a pro is like, are you gonna be ready when your opportunity is called? Like everybody wants to be a pro. Like, man, like I'm waiting on my agent, but like, are you ready when the opportunity presents itself? Like, are you staying in shape? Are you eating healthy? You taking care of your body? Because when that like, and you know, like it might just be one quick phone call today and you out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you've been asking for that. So, but are you ready for it if it's given to you in that time? So I think for me, that's what I kind of set myself on is always being anybody that knows me knows I'm in tip top shape at all times. Like I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I think
that
that's, oh no, like 100%. That's a lesson for all overseas athletes because you are so right when you say that, you know, you have no idea when things are going to come. I mean, even throughout my career, there's been a call the day before and be like, hey, you have to, this NBA team wants you to work out with them. And you're like, oh shit. Okay. So just making sure, I mean, we're talking about like June and July when your kind of season just ended and you want that break. I always think about like NBA players like that. I know, you know, Doc Rivers was talking about Maxi's like calling him and he's like, no, you need to get away from the game for a few weeks. Like, we don't have that. Like, we'll come home and it's like, we'll have like a few days and then it's like, you better get back ready because if you're not ready, we're not at that level where it's like, okay, you know, you can get a break because you have a contract for next year. We're fighting contract to contract and you have to be ready at all times. I think that's a great lesson for overseas athletes or, you know, G League guys, like be ready at all time. And kind of talking about being ready at all times, we're going to go in the little transition into you're already starting to think about post-career stuff, which is incredible, and setting yourself up for things that you're going to do post-career, which is where kind of Loot Mogul comes in because you've come into contact and grown within Loot Mogul with Corsley and Raj. And now you are part of this team where you have this huge platform, this huge metaverse with influencers. And it's a really cool opportunity. And you've kind of set yourself up while you're still, you know, playing basketball, which is just incredible to me. So take us through your transition where you kind of went and you're like, all right, I'm going to keep this going, but I'm also going to, you know, jump into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing, especially for like players that aren't at that NBA level and getting that NBA money coming in. So like your overseas guys and your G League guys, those tweener type guys. I think the best thing is really trying to get that side hustle or have some type of money coming in because, you know, like a lot of guys go to the G League, it's like what, 5 months. And, you know, like I think it's supposed to be, I mean, you're getting a decent amount of money for the 5 months, but, you know, it's not anything that you're going to really live off of. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have a family, or if you got bills and all, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to make that decision to like, you have to really love basketball to be in that G League in that type of, you know what I'm saying, affiliated with it. So I just feel like I feel like the G League is, man, like it gives you the opportunity to like network with a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like by me becoming a part of Loot Mogul, I've been able to like through basketball meet so many different people that like I can connect with and like, look, man, like you don't have to just play basketball to set yourself up and set your family up. You know what I'm saying? Like you can start your side hustle, you know what I'm saying? And I think through Loot Mogul, you know, I've been able to set myself up and earn some money, you know, while I'm not playing this year, you know, and I think that's huge because now that I have this connection, as I'm going into my next season, it's like, okay, cool, like you get paid, I can save this money from when I'm playing and I can still be making money through Loot Mogul and I can live off Loot Mogul and then whatever other side hustle I have coming in, you know what I'm saying? The goal is to have like 5, 6, 7 streams of income, you know what I'm saying? And it's just having the same mindset that we put towards basketball of grinding and being ready at all times for the opportunity. It's the same principle that applies to life because we all learned from the pandemic. One job is really scarcely close to like having no job at all. You know what I'm saying? So you only got one job and that's it and it's gone. Like bills don't stop. You know what I'm saying? You still got to take like, you know, I have a daughter now, so it's like, you know, I want to be able to set her up, make sure she's good. You know what I'm saying? That's my responsibility, nobody else's. You know what I'm saying? So I got to make sure that I'm building my empire up and leaving my legacy for her. So I'm trying to get in and learn anything I can possibly to do that. You know, and I've been blessed. You know, just by having that genuine connection through knowing Corsley as my coach, and he knew that I was a solid guy, hard worker. You know, like I said, things just fall in your lap when you don't worry about it. He just happened to hit me up. I'm like, yo, L, like, what's good? Like, I'm with this company, Loot Mogul. Explained it to me. We talked. We met up. I came up to Baltimore, sat down with him, ate. We talked about it. And I'm like, yeah, like, I love to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's really been the best thing that I could have done, honestly, because just in the small amount of time that I've been with the company, like, the amount of people that I'm getting like in connection with, like, is ridiculous, you know. And that's one of the things I wanted to highlight through Loot Mogul too. Like, obviously, we can get into to more on the business side. I don't know, Roger's going to talk about that, but just from a networking standpoint, like you're in network with somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and we all know that business is not necessarily about what you know; it's about who you know and how they can help you. You know what I'm saying? And how you can help each other. You know, and Loot Mogul is a big family. So whatever you need, it's like we got it. You know, so it's been a huge blessing to me, man.
I love the side hustle. The side hustle is something that even big time athletes, big time, you know, NBA guys, they're still having their side hustles because we always talk about like there's just I just think as athletes we've resigned ourselves to the fact that like you said, LG, nothing's going to last forever, and you're this close to having the best job in the world, but you're also this close to having no job at all. And I think with that mindset that we've developed, even in retirement, I know Course and I, like, we're constantly grinding, we're constantly hustling, we're constantly doing that. It's something that was kind of almost put into our minds through this process. And it's the same thing. Like, I'm never going to stop grinding. I'm never going to stop those side hustles and those hustles and things like that, because you want to create and build and build and build. And it's like wild because I just think my mind works differently now than it did when I was younger. Like I'm like, okay, I have this thing, I have this thing, I have this thing. And people I know are like, dude, what are you? You're like all over the map. I was like, yeah, man, like this is just what it is. Like, this is how we do it. And of course, I know you can speak to this because, you know, when you came into Loot Mogul, it's, you know, the same thing. You're coaching, you're doing these things, and then you kind of got in. So take us through, of course, your introduction and come up in Loot Mogul.
So like my introduction came off of my good friend Raj. I call him my brother now. He's a family member now. You know, we had family functions. He's invited, children being born, he's invited, everything. So, you know, we like Raj and I connected through social media on a platform, and he reached out to me and he told me, he said, hey, I got an idea. And then he said, could you help me with this? Because I was a professional athlete. So that benefited from me as being a professional athlete, where Raj seen that I played as an athlete. And he said, well, we can create a platform for sports trivia. And then Raj hit me and said, hey, can you do 250 questions for me? I said, yeah, no problem. Let's square that out. You know, I sent him off. You know, he sent me a nice data sheet to put the questions, answers, and everything on. And from that moment, it was like, you know, it was like a match made in heaven, because it was like, he was like, he was humble enough to come to me, and I was humble enough to go back to him. You know, I wasn't an arrogant, stuck up person saying, okay, like, okie dokie, come in, you know, somebody send me messages, whatever, you know. I really was looking for that, like LG said, you know, piggyback off of him, like, it's just being patient and waiting on your time. And, you know, Raj came to me at the right time because I was like, I had a whole bunch of things going on from coaching. Do I want to go back to the NBA and coach? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And, you know, and I just like, I see a bigger vision, you know, for me, not just being into the NBA field. Like I said, I can create this business and help build a brand and become one of the top brands in the world. And Raj and I discussed it and was like, hey, we can do this. Like I remember I was like, man, we can create like a store on the website. And Raj, and I was like, you know, I got basketball cards, I got, you know, my jerseys, whatever for sale, whatever. And Raj like, hey man, you heard about NFTs. And from that day forward, like I've been in the NFT space, and it was probably like a year and a half ago where Raj hit me and was like, hey man, like we can create NFTs and you can sell NFTs and you know, you can put it on our store and we're going to just create a whole platform and be able to create NFTs and all this type of stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. After I seen how lucrative it was and how the space it was, I said, man, Raj was like, come on, course, like I'm gonna make sure we do this together, you know. And like that's one thing about Raj, like he's the greatest nerd I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, no disrespect to nerds, you know, but like he's a really great, humbling guy. And when you see him and when you're around him, you can feel his presence. It's not just a regular person. You know what I mean? Like he's destined to do what we're doing here at Loot Mogul. And, you know, that's what got me included into Loot Mogul because, you know, as playing a professional athlete, you be around a lot of hard head, knucklehead type of people. And you don't really have that stability of a person around you. You know, you got friends, hey, let's go to the club, let's go pop bottles, let's do this, blah, 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 blah. And then, but you got a guy like Rod saying, hey, man, we're family oriented, we're married, you know, we got to break this thing down and let's lay it all out and then see what we get at the end. And, you know, like, I feel like it's a rainbow, you know, at the end of that rainbow, it's a lot of pots of gold on this Loot Mogul aspect. So, you know, that's why me and Raj been sticking since day one. So that's why I got him, you know, involved with Loot Mogul and putting my ideas and bringing, you know, athletes in as LG and, you know, just other players as Rick Barry's and, you know, Lisa Leslie's and George Marasons and Mario Chalmers, Carlos Boozers. We brought all these guys onto the platform through the fact that, you know, I know these guys personally and these guys are humbling people. And I know they don't have really that kind of like that basis under them for somebody to look out for them. So I thought that this platform, Loot Mogul, would be best for them.
So Raj, this journey of Loot Mogul, we kind of, you know, of course, went into the whole, you know, how you guys connected and how you started growing this. So take us through the process of Loot Mogul, what it entails for the listeners so they can get hooked up and start, you know, using Loot Mogul to play.
Yeah. So yes, so just to add what Corsley said about the journey, right? So Corsley is, as I say, he's not only my brother, but he's part of family, right? So we started with ideation factor, right? So we were literally throwing ideas like what Cameo was doing back then with just shout outs and all those. I said, no, there has to be something more for athletes. So everything we do is for sports and entertainment, especially around NBA players, NFL players, and so forth. But what we want to do is that we create their persona and avatar or metaverse character. Think about that in a true digital world. And really, while you are playing, start at LG said, start creating your future in this metaverse. Because when you're playing right now, you may start collecting a lot of accolades. You may even attend many events. All those activities are becoming your collectibles, and people and those collectibles can be minted on NFTs. And then those NFTs can be sold for millions of dollars, right? So it's not just thousands, sometimes it's millions of dollars. So building that presence in the metaverse is almost the one analogy that I use is from Binance.us CEO, Brian Schroeder. His analogy was early during the 1990s, if a company or a brand or a sports athlete, especially sports athlete, doesn't have a website, right, talking about his persona, then you become slowly and gradually irrelevant. Same thing with companies. In back in then 2000, if you cannot do the e-commerce transaction as a company or as a brand to monetize from your fans, then you're becoming irrelevant. So there was Web 1.0, then there came Web 2.0. That for athletes, it's really critical whether you are current, whether you are retired, whether you're upcoming too. So we have 1.5 million college athletes that we are onboarding. It's really relevant for you to be in on a Web3 presence. So the Web 1 was good from a website perspective. Web 2 was e-commerce. Web 3 is all about metaverse and creating your character, right? Creating your entire collection of NFTs, especially in a metaverse that is dedicated to sports athletes, because you don't want to be like there are other platforms, as you may know, that you create NFTs, it may or may not sell. There's no fan engagement. There is no really a loyalty that you will get from other platforms. While with Loot Mogul, we are building a community. And also, to be humble and being honest, we are just starting, right? It's a year and a half of hardcore development that the team did with Coursley and myself and many other people. And now with LG and you, Kevin, and many others, we are now really scaling this platform. We are really going live. So from an athlete perspective, especially for your audience that are listening, it's very critical to have a Web3 presence. And right now, fortunately or unfortunately, we are the only game in town for the sports metaverse. There are other metaverses that you can be part of. If you are a musician, if you are an actor, for example, there are other metaverses that you can be part of. But join some community to generate this lifetime income. So because anytime an NFT is being sold, right, it's like your record music album. NFT generates lifetime royalties. So it's not just the first time somebody is going to buy it. Next time somebody sells or buys that NFT, you get royalty from it. So as an athlete, you want to, again, I use LG as an example. What he just said is you to have multiple streams. And this is also from a financial perspective. Warren Buffett said the same thing. Always have 2, 3, 4 income streams. And you generate that. Some income streams may become your main check, like Loot Mogul can become your primary check, or it can become a ancillary income that pays for your daughter's school, that pays for many other activities in your life. So start creating that income revenue stream. And we as truly, all of us that are the Loot Mogul champs, are focused on that particular aspect for your community.
And of course, you kind of mentioned some of the athletes that are going to be part of Loot, or that are part of Loot Mogul, and are some of the personalities on Loot Mogul. So take us through. You mentioned Lisa Leslie, Carlos Boozer. Some big name athletes are already part of Loot Mogul. So take us through, those connections and how they're building their brand on Loot Mogul.
So those guys individually, they have their own businesses and their own, things that they're doing as far as real estate and clothing lines and podcasts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, guys are really having and bringing them different streams of income in. So, with a Carlos Boozer, he just graduated from college. Congratulations to my man Carlos Boozer. He's able to bring in his family and show his family how to create on this new Web3 presence. He's showing his family members, and those family members are telling family members to get on this Web3 presence as far as like the sports athletes and all that type of stuff. And these guys are having that grind that we started off in the beginning of our podcast. They have that grind as well. So like Raj, I'm gonna piggyback off of Raj, like you might be able to want to send your school through the Loot Mogul aspect, you know what I mean? And be able to onboard your children and show them who wants to be athletes. Like, you can start your branding now, where the parents who've been working their behinds off, like me and you, KO, you know what I mean? Like, to try to take care of our kids, where the guys who's already on that higher level, they won't have to, be so concerned about when their kids get older. You know what I mean? Because everybody know your money doesn't last forever. You know what I mean? Unless you set it up and put it in the right places. But you know, we at Loot Mogul want to make sure that every athlete is getting their respect due. The high end to the lower end. Like Rod said, we got 1.5 million kids on board now. You know, we're giving them that ability to build a brand for themselves, and who knows, it might be the next Michael Jordan or the next LeBron James who signs up. You're giving these kids that opportunity now to start making revenue for themselves. And another thing, just off topic, like the NIL deals. We're creating NIL deals for all of the other kids who might go to Tennessee or Kentucky, who's getting the big NIL deals, dudes sending them $1 million for this and doing that. So what about the rest of the guys on the bench? Like, we don't want to leave anybody absent. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be present. Everybody wants to be in the now, and being able to join on the Loot Mogul gives all of our influencers and people options to grow their brand right now. You know, we don't know what everybody can do. Everybody has some type of hidden talent somewhere, you know, and you can sell your hidden talent. You get what I mean? And people like, oh, wow, like we have a what's his name, LG? Stokes?
Yeah. Went to Kansas State.
Yeah, like dudes just have different, like, you know, attributes about themselves that you be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that about you. You know what I mean? And on our platform and all our influencers, they'll be able to talk to Elisa Leslie or Carlos Boozer and be able to relate to people that on this sports influence-based platform to be able to create for themselves, man. Like, I get excited talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun every day. I get to talk about influencers and loot moguls and metaverse and crypto and NFTs and like it's a whole. But as you think about every name, that's a different stream of income coming in. You know what I mean? So that's the best part about it.
It's incredible. And I know, Raj, we had talked about, you know, the global impact of something like Loot Mogul and how this is not just. A lot of people look at, you know, side hustles and you're kind of like, oh, well, it's, you know, strictly this country or this country. Loot Mogul is a global company. You can reach so many different people in the world. So kind of take us through how far stretch your outreach can go and how far these athletes can really, you know, make them brand themselves throughout the world.
Yeah. So one of the key things, so right now we have 65 million plus outreach worldwide, and that's again, we are just starting. But one of the main things with NBA as a brand or basketball as a brand, there are fans all over the world, whether you look at China, whether you look at India, whether you look at Qatar, whether you look at Romania, for example, George Morrison, right? Europe, right? So the basketball is one game, I would say almost, in my view, bigger than the soccer, even though the numbers may be different. There's so much fan base, loyal fan base, that not only you get tremendous exposure in US, which is what we do, but also in Europe and also in Asia, and then Middle East, right? So between all those major continents, we are getting tremendous traction personally. But going back to your audience and your athletes, this is where, as a local brand, right, when we build your character, you may have some specific moves. And right now, Coarsely is already bringing in some of even the street ball players, that you are a street ball, but you may have tremendous capability that you may have done a dunk move. That move can become an NFT. That can be a game character that can be used inside a game. And you can just, based on that one move, you can be minting thousands or millions of dollars, right? Because the worldwide people wants to look at those specific things that are very unique. And with basketball, I think basketball is one game, I feel, that unites the world, because everybody loves basketball. And I, coming from India, I can tell you, like growing up, right, we all were thinking about Magic Johnson, right? We wanted to play against him, right? That was one idol. Then now, obviously, when you talk to many of our developers, and Coarsely and LG talks to them on a daily basis, they're all the fanatics of the basketball players, right? They know more about basketball than I do, or many of us do. They are like nerds, but they're statistical nerd. And anytime you push a stats or an NFT card, right? They know exactly stats of every single trading card. So because that's the passion the basketball has worldwide, and this platform obviously is giving that. But ultimately, you as a brand, think about an athlete as a brand or your audience as a brand wants to reach out worldwide. You should be on the metaverse. And I'm not just pitching ourselves. If you find a right metaverse that fits your needs, you should evaluate that and be on that global platform, because that's where you're going to gain global audience.
I just think this is the future. This is what is the future looks like. We talked about it like almost baseball cards. Like I grew up collecting baseball cards, and that was something that was a huge hobby of mine. We used to ride our bikes to the baseball card shop, and when you look at it, it's you have all these different baseball cards, which I still have. Yep, exactly. Zach Levine. And you have these cards, and they're all sitting there, and there's so much value in them, and there's so much excitement, and that is what the future is with this digital world, and what Loot Mogul is offering. And it's I'm super excited to be part of this. I think this is just going to be a really cool opportunity for athletes to brand themselves and to build their income when they're still playing. And we talked to LG, who was kind of the star of this, who's now has this incredible opportunities still to play and improve his basketball career, because he's young and still has that time, but still being able to be part of that is just tremendous. And I'm very excited to be part of this Loot Mogul family and have this opportunity for myself as well going forward. So last question, LG, because I'm rocking the Daddy Shark shirt today. The girl dad is a real thing. It's just a tremendous. I know a lot of people are like, I'll have boys. I like girls better. They listen better. And I just think it's something like my daughter listens to everything I say, and I'm like, okay, we have practice today. She's like, Dad, let's go out and shoot. Like I was like, I was like, if I had a son, they'd probably be sitting there playing PlayStation. My daughter wants to go. So LG, girl dad, how did life change for you when that happened?
I mean, man, it changed tremendously, man. My daughter, that's my everything. That's my twin. Look just like me. Her mannerisms like me. I already got her playing basketball on little Fisher-Price hoops. She definitely gonna be around the game. All we watch on TV is basketball when she eating. So but like, man, it's just a life-changing experience, man. I think for me is I truly cherish and I truly feel like my best job is making sure and I'm with my daughter and spending time with her. Like that's the best job, is like just being a father and being able to look at this child and like look at her like, wow, like I have to really teach her right from wrong. Like they just come into the world just not knowing, you know what I'm saying? It's like you got to really watch how you move. Like you have to really set the example for them, show them how to work hard, how to treat people the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like teaching her manners. Like she's 1 year old and she already learned, you know what I'm saying? She's starting to talk and you know what I'm saying? Just teaching her different things, man. I just truly cherish it. For me, so back in August, so actually my daughter was born February 3rd, 2021. And so 6 months later, my dad actually had passed away, you know what I'm saying? So in August, and so he was only able to really see my daughter for like 6 months, but I thank God that I was able to see my dad. I thank God like he was able to see me become a father, you know what I'm saying? Like that really meant a lot to him. And for me to really cherish and hold on to that, like I'll never forget that feeling of him holding my daughter, seeing him smile, play with her, you know what I'm saying? And me not knowing, obviously we never know, nobody knows, but 6 months later that, I became a father, and 6 months later I lost my father, and on top of a whole lot of other things going on, it was tough. But my daughter, man, she kept me kept me going. Like that was like God gave me her for a reason, like a true blessing with all the things that I was experiencing in life. When through all the dark clouds, it was just this ray of light. It was just my daughter. She brought so much positivity to us, and that's the motivation. That's why I'm affiliated with somebody like with companies such as Loot Mogul. That's why I'm working on other streams of income. That's why I'm working to get my mind right and get my body right to get back on the court. Because I got somebody depending on me, and I think about that every day I wake up. It's a true blessing, man. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. Definitely a girl dad. Love my daughter, man. It's the best feeling.
I think, kind of wrapping it up, I think, family is such an important word. And you talked about your family and, the struggles, but also the triumphs that you guys have gone through. And, that's a family. And I think, with what is going on here with Loot Mogul and, Overseas Famous, and we have this family connection, and, that's what it is. I think when you have a business where you do feel like a family, that's very important. I think this is a super cool thing. I'm very excited that we were all able to hop on the pod today and talk about this. Raj, Corsley, LG. This was a tremendous thing. And I think, we had some touching moments, but I definitely love the fact that this is a global thing and it's really getting out there. And, like you said, I mean, there's millions and millions of people, and it's just scratching the surface. So very excited to see where Loot Mogul is going. LG, I'm very excited to see where your career is going as well, because you have great opportunities, with whatever you're going to do, overseas basketball, things like that. And going into the next season, we're obviously excited for your future and excited to build this growth with Loot Mogul. And guys, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks, KO, for sure, man. You the man with you the boss, man, with that podcast, bro. I won't say too much. I don't have no pause moments.
No, this is amazing.
It's a lot of fun, and we're excited for this partnership. And everyone, this has been the Overseas Famous podcast. Myself, Kevin Owens, Raj, Kors, LG. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Check out Loot Mogul. We'll have click those links and follow, sign up, and we'll go from there. Can't wait to be part of this. And Overseas Famous podcast out.